that Netanyahu's actually privately been funding some of the push through the rabbis around this conversation of building a third temple. But
the Temple Mount is in our hands. We are in Jerusalem, and we are here to stay.
December 2017. Trump announces the embassy move to Jerusalem. Religious leaders celebrate. They gather for an awards ceremony. Someone asks about rebuilding the Holy Temple. The response from Trump's team, it has not come up. No, it has not. Clear denial. But here's what's strange. 6 years later, architectural renderings appear online. Detailed, precise, professional quality. They show a massive structure on the Temple Mount, the exact spot where 2 previous temples were destroyed. The official answer was no, but someone's planning anyway. And what they're planning could trigger the biggest crisis in Middle East history. So what are these plans? Let's look at what we know. The renderings show a large structure, multi-level design, central courtyard, eastern-facing entrance. The architectural style matches ancient descriptions. Stone construction, specific measurements that align with historical texts. Some versions include detailed interior layouts, chambers, hallways, areas designated for specific religious functions. Here's where it gets specific. Groups like the Temple Institute have been working on this for decades. Not just drawings, physical preparation. They've created ritual objects, vessels, garments, items described in ancient texts, all stored, all waiting. They've trained people in forgotten practices, procedures that haven't been performed in 2,000 years. The renderings that surfaced online match these preparations. Too detailed to be random, too specific to be symbolic. Someone knows exactly what they're building, or planning to build. The measurements align with biblical descriptions. The orientation matches historical records. Even the materials specified match ancient requirements. But here's the problem. The Temple Mount isn't empty land. It's occupied. The Dome of the Rock sits there now, built in 691 AD, one of Islam's holiest sites. Right next to it, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, third holiest site in Islam. Both structures sit exactly where these plans show construction. You can't just bulldoze international holy sites. International law, diplomatic consequences, potential military conflict. Yet the plans exist anyway. Detailed enough to build from, professional enough to be serious. And the groups behind them aren't treating this as a distant dream anymore. Which brings us back to that award ceremony, the one where Trump received recognition for the Jerusalem embassy decision. Religious leaders praised him, called him a friend to Israel, spoke openly about their temple hopes. Then came that question, and that clear denial. So if Trump's team said no, who's saying yes? The award ceremony happened in the years following the embassy move. Trump received the Kita of Jerusalem Award. Religious leaders gathered, Jewish community leaders, evangelical supporters. They saw the embassy decision as historic, more than politics. They saw prophecy. One speaker at the event said this, "We cry, and we have the great beliefs that very soon we will all see the building of the third temple in Jerusalem very soon. Not someday, soon." He connected Trump's action directly to temple hopes, then talked about Jewish unity, about bringing people together, about the temple being the ultimate goal. Another speaker explained why Trump's decision mattered spiritually. American recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital wasn't just diplomatic positioning. To many believers, it was prophetic fulfillment, a required step, a sign that ancient promises were activating in modern times. But Trump's own words tell a different story. When asked directly about temple discussions, the response was clear. It hasn't come up. The embassy move was political, strategic, about recognizing reality on the ground, not about religious prophecy. So here's the tension. Religious communities celebrated a political decision as spiritual breakthrough. They awarded Trump for what they believed he'd enabled. They spoke openly about temple construction. Trump accepted the award, acknowledged their support, but drew a line. Politics, yes. Prophecy planning, no. Yet the preparations continue. The plans exist. The groups organize, with or without official blessing. which means we need to understand what they're actually preparing for. And why they believe now is the time. To understand why this matters, you need to know what came before. There were two previous temples. The first one, built by King Solomon around 950 BC. Massive structure, gold everywhere. The religious center of ancient Israel. Babylonians destroyed it in 586 BC. Gone. The second temple came later, started small after exile ended. Then King Herod expanded it massively. By the time of Jesus, it was enormous. White stone, gold trim, visible for miles. Romans destroyed it in 70 AD. Only one wall remains today, the Western Wall, where people pray now. So when people talk about a third temple, they're talking about rebuilding something that's been gone for almost 2,000 years. But here's why it's not just about rebuilding. Ancient texts describe specific events connected to a future temple. The book of Matthew records Jesus saying something specific. When you see the abomination of desolation standing in the holy place, then run, get out. That phrase, abomination of desolation, means something sacred being violated, something holy being defiled. The prophecy describes an image or figure appearing in the temple's holiest area. But here's the problem. There is no temple. Hasn't been one since 70 AD. So believers face a question. Can prophecy happen without the building? Or must the building exist first? Two camps formed. Some say the temple is symbolic now. The church replaced physical buildings. Prophecies apply spiritually. No literal construction needed. This view says God moved on from Israel's physical temple system 2,000 years ago. Others say no. The prophecy is literal. Specific location, physical structure. When the text says standing in the holy place, it means the actual temple building, which means the building must be rebuilt before the prophecy can unfold. This isn't just theological debate. It determines expectations. If you believe the temple must be rebuilt, you watch Jerusalem differently. You see current events as setup. You support groups preparing materials. You view political decisions through prophetic lens. And you pay attention to architectural plans, even unofficial ones. Because if the building comes first, then someone has to build it. The question isn't if. The question is who and when. Here's the impossible part. The spot where the temple needs to be rebuilt isn't empty. It's occupied. The Temple Mount hosts two major Islamic structures. The Dome of the Rock, built in 691 AD. Recognizable golden dome, one of Islam's most sacred sites. Next to it, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, third holiest site in Islam after Mecca and Medina. Both structures sit on the same platform where the ancient Jewish temples stood. Same location, same ground. This creates an unsolvable problem. You can't build a Jewish temple without removing or relocating Islamic holy sites. And you can't touch those sites without triggering massive international crisis. Israeli law currently prohibits Jewish prayer on the Temple Mount. Too controversial, too dangerous. The site is managed by an Islamic trust. Non-Muslims can visit during limited hours.